I'm sorry, Michael. Lord Jesus knows I tried my best. But I can't do this alone anymore. I'm failing her. Your mama deserves to know about Grace. She deserves to know she has a granddaughter. Catherine Morrison stood frozen in the cold November rain at Burr Oak Cemetery on Chicago's South Side, staring at something that made no sense. A homeless woman sat on the wet ground at her son's grave, sobbing like her soul was breaking apart, clutching a sleeping child wrapped in a threadbare blanket that looked like it had come from a dumpster. Catherine's first instinct was anger. This was her private grief. Her sacred Sunday ritual. Her space to talk to her boy without the world watching. Who was this stranger invading the only place she could still feel close to Michael? She walked closer through the rain, her expensive coat soaked through, but she didn't care, ready to ask the woman to leave. But then she heard what the homeless woman was whispering to the headstone. Catherine's heart stopped beating. Her knees went weak. Michael. This stranger was saying her son's name like she knew him. And something about a granddaughter named Grace. The woman looked up, rain and tears mixing on her face. Recognition flashed in her eyes. Then pure terror. Mrs. Morrison. Her voice cracked with fear. I didn't think you'd come today. I usually leave before you get here. Who are you? How do you know my son's name? Why are you at his grave? The woman struggled to stand on shaky legs, clutching the sleeping child tighter to her chest. Please. I'm sorry. We'll go. I shouldn't have come. Answer my questions right now. The woman's whole body trembled. My name is Jennifer Hayes. 3 years ago, I loved your son with everything in me. And this baby sleeping in my arms right now is his daughter. Your granddaughter. Catherine staggered backward like she'd been physically struck. What did you just say to me? Michael was her father, Mrs. Morrison. This is Grace. She just turned 3 years old last month. And I've been living on the streets with her for 2 years because I was too ashamed and too scared to tell you the truth about who she is. Hello friends, welcome to Black Tales Everyday. Before we start, please like this video and subscribe so you never miss these powerful stories. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from today. This story is about secrets that destroy families and truth that heals broken hearts. About families separated by fear and shame and reunited by faith and grace. So settle in and get comfortable, because what you're about to hear will shock you, move you, and remind you that God works in the most mysterious and beautiful ways. Catherine Morrison didn't come from money. She built her catering and event planning empire from absolutely nothing but a prayer, a dream, and her mama's kitchen on Chicago's South Side. Started 30 years ago making soul food plates for church dinners at Greater Faith Baptist Church and small neighborhood parties that paid $50 if she was lucky. Fried chicken, collard greens, macaroni and cheese, cornbread, sweet potato pie. Food made with love and seasoned with faith. Word spread through the community. Sister Catherine can cook. Sister Catherine is reliable. Sister Catherine treats people right. One small job led to another. Church dinners became wedding receptions. Wedding receptions became corporate events. Corporate events became political fundraisers and celebrity galas. Before she knew it, Morrison Events was the premier catering company in Chicago. Now she employed 47 people from the community, most of them black women who needed good-paying jobs with real benefits and respect. She believed in lifting while climbing. Believed in bringing others up with you. Her late husband James had been a postal worker for 30 years. Good man. Hard-working. Faithful. Loved the Lord and loved his family. They raised Michael together in a modest home in Chatham, gave him strong values, made sure he went to church every single Sunday, sent him to good schools, taught him to work hard and treat people right. Michael grew up with a servant's heart. Didn't want to make money. Wanted to make a difference. Became a social worker at a youth center on the West Side. Helped kids who came from nothing, just like his mama had. Counseled them. Mentored them. Gave them hope. Made Catherine proud every single day of his life. Then 3 years ago on a Tuesday evening, gunfire erupted outside that youth center. Gang violence. Senseless and stupid and cruel. Michael tried to stop it. Tried to be a peacemaker like Jesus taught. Stepped between two young men with guns trying to talk them down. Caught 2 bullets in his chest. Dead before the ambulance could get him to the hospital. 23 years old with his whole beautiful life ahead of him. Gone in seconds. Catherine buried her husband when Michael was 16. Buried her only child when she was 58. After Michael's funeral, she buried her heart too. Kept her business running on autopilot. Her managers handled everything while she went through the motions of living. Attended Greater Faith Baptist Church every Sunday because that's what you do, but she felt nothing. The choir sang, "Amazing Grace," and she didn't feel amazed. The pastor preached about God's faithfulness and she felt abandoned. People hugged her and told her time heals all wounds and she wanted to scream that they were lying. Every Sunday after service, she came here to Burr Oak Cemetery. Brought fresh flowers. Talked to Michael like he could hear her. Cried until she had no tears left. Then went home to her empty house and waited for another week to pass. Until today. Until this homeless woman claiming to have Michael's child changed everything Catherine thought she knew about her son's life and death. They sat in Catherine's Cadillac with the heat running full blast, rain hammering the windows so hard it sounded like drumming. Jennifer held the sleeping child while water dripped from her matted hair onto the leather seats. Catherine didn't care about the seats. She cared about truth. Talk. Right now. And it better be the truth because I will find out if you're lying to me. Jennifer's voice shook but she spoke clearly. I worked at the reception desk at the youth center where Michael was a counselor. We became friends first. He was so kind. So easy to talk to. He never looked down on me even though I had nothing. We'd eat lunch together. Talk about life. About dreams. About faith. Then friendship became more. We fell in love. We're together for 8 months before he died. 8 months and Michael never mentioned you once. Never brought you to Sunday dinner. Never introduced you at church. That doesn't sound like my son. That was my fault, not his. I begged him not to tell anyone yet. I was embarrassed of who I was. Embarrassed of what? Of everything. I grew up in foster care, Mrs. Morrison. Bounced around from house to house my whole childhood. Some homes were okay. Some were terrible. I aged out of the system at 18 with nothing. No family. No support. No money. Barely graduated high school. Got my GED while working 3 minimum wage jobs just to afford a room in someone's basement. Jennifer's tears came harder. Michael was brilliant. Educated. Came from a good family with a mother who built an empire. I was nobody. I thought you'd look at me and see trash. See a gold digger. See someone trying to trap your son. So I convinced him to wait. To let me prove myself first. To let me get stable and educated and worthy before we told you about us. Catherine's jaw tightened. So you convinced my son to keep secrets from his mother. To lie to me. I convinced him to wait for the right time. I was wrong. I know that now. But I was scared, Mrs. Morrison. Scared you'd make him choose between me and his family. Scared I'd lose the only person who ever made me feel like I mattered. And then he was killed. Yes, ma'am. We were supposed to have dinner that Tuesday night. I was going to tell him something important. But he called from the center and said there was a situation. Said he'd be late. That was the last time I heard his voice. Jennifer's voice broke completely. 2 hours later, police knocked on my apartment door at midnight. Said Michael was gone. Shot twice in the chest. Dead at the scene. I collapsed. Couldn't breathe. Thought I was dying too. They took me to the hospital in an ambulance. That's when you found out you were pregnant. Yes, ma'am. The ER doctor ran tests and confirmed it. I was 6 weeks along. I'd found out 3 days earlier from a home test. Was planning to tell Michael at that dinner we never got to have. Was planning to tell you together. Planning to finally stop hiding and be a real family. Catherine stared at the sleeping child in Jennifer's arms. Even in the dim car light filtering through rain-soaked windows, she could see it now that she was looking. The shape of the nose. The curve of the chin. The set of the eyes. Michael's features in this little girl's face. Why didn't you come to me after he died? Why didn't you tell me you were carrying my grandchild? Because the youth center closed after Michael's death. The city cut funding. I lost my job. Couldn't pay rent. Got evicted. Ended up in shelters. When Grace was born 7 months later, it was in a homeless facility with nothing. No money. No job. No home. What was I supposed to do? Show up at your door and say, "Hi Mrs. Morrison, I'm the woman your son never mentioned and here's his baby that I can't even feed properly. You should have come to me anyway. You should have given me the chance." I was ashamed. And I was terrified you'd take her from me. You're a billionaire. I'm nobody living on the streets. Any family court judge would give you custody. You could provide everything I couldn't. So I kept quiet and tried to survive day by day. Tried to be strong for Grace. But it's so hard, Mrs. Morrison. So impossibly hard. Catherine looked at the child again. How long have you been homeless? 2 years solid. Before that, bouncing between shelters when they had room. And you've been coming to Michael's grave? For how long? Every Sunday for the past year. I come early before you usually arrive. Talk to him. Tell him about Grace. About how she's growing. About how I'm failing her. About how sorry I am that I can't give her the life he would have wanted for her. Then I leave before you get there because I'm a coward. Catherine's voice came out strangled. What's her full name? Grace Morrison Hayes. I gave her Michael's last name. Because even though we weren't married, he's her daddy. That's not going to change just because I couldn't afford a marriage license. How old did you say she is? Just turned 3 last month. October 15th. Catherine's hands trembled on the steering wheel. I need proof. I need a DNA test. I need to know for certain. I understand completely. I'll do whatever test you need. I want you to know the truth too. Where were you planning to sleep tonight? There's a shelter on 95th that sometimes has room if you get there early enough. If not, there's a church on Stony Island that lets people sleep in a basement on cold nights. Catherine made a decision that went against every cautious instinct built over 60 years of life. No. No granddaughter of mine sleeps in a shelter or a church basement. Not tonight. Not ever again. You're both coming home with me right now. We'll figure out the rest tomorrow. Catherine's home in Chatham wasn't a mansion by billionaire standards, but it felt like paradise to Jennifer and Grace. Warm. Clean. Safe. 3 bedrooms. 2 bathrooms. A real kitchen with a refrigerator full of food. Furniture without stains or rips. Carpet without holes. Heaven. Catherine showed them to the guest room. Bathrooms through there. Clean towels in the closet. Get yourselves cleaned up properly. I'll make you something hot to eat. While Jennifer bathed Grace in a real bathtub with actual hot water and soap that smelled like lavender, Catherine stood in her kitchen and called her pastor. Reverend Williams, it's Sister Catherine. I need you to come by my house right now. Something's happened that I can't process alone. Something about Michael. 30 minutes later, Reverend Williams sat in Catherine's living room along with Dr. Marcus Thompson, a deacon and family physician at Greater Faith. Jennifer sat on the couch holding a clean, fed Grace who looked like a completely different child. The transformation from homeless to cared for was stunning. Catherine explained everything that had happened at the cemetery. The pastor listened without interrupting. Dr. Thompson took notes. When Catherine finished, Reverend Williams looked at Jennifer seriously. Young lady, I need you to understand something. If what you're saying is true, if this child is indeed Michael's daughter, then you've been keeping Sister Catherine's grandbaby from her for 3 years. That's not a small thing. That's not something we can just brush past. I know, Reverend. I was wrong. I was scared and ashamed and I made terrible decisions. Fear makes us do foolish things, Reverend Williams said. But hiding a child from her grandmother for 3 years while living on the streets? That's more than fear talking. That's pride. That's putting your own comfort ahead of that baby's welfare. Jennifer's tears came hard. Yes, sir. You're right. I was selfish. I thought I was protecting her, but I was really protecting myself. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Dr. Thompson spoke gently. We can settle this medically. I can do a DNA test tomorrow morning. Simple cheek swab from both Catherine and the child. Results will take 3 days. Then we'll know the truth for certain. Do it, Catherine said firmly. I need to know. Not because I don't see Michael in her face. I do. But I need official confirmation. For legal reasons. For her future. For everything. Reverend Williams reached for their hands. Before we go any further tonight, let's pray about this situation. Let's ask God for wisdom and guidance and truth. They formed a circle, Catherine, Jennifer holding Grace, Reverend Williams, and Dr. Thompson. The pastor's voice filled the living room. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight with heavy hearts and complicated circumstances. Lord, you know the truth about this child. You know if she's Sister Catherine's granddaughter. We're asking you to reveal that truth clearly and unmistakably. If this young woman is being honest, give Sister Catherine the grace to forgive her for keeping silent. If this child is Michael's daughter, help this family heal and come together. Protect this innocent baby from the mistakes of adults. Give us all wisdom to handle this situation in a way that honors you. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen. Amen, they echoed. Catherine looked at Jennifer seriously. You can stay here until we get the test results. But understand something. If you're lying to me, if you're running some kind of con, I will destroy you. I have resources you can't imagine. I will make sure you never scam another grieving mother. I'm not lying, Mrs. Morrison. I swear on my life. We'll see. Grace can sleep in the guest room. You're on the couch where I can keep an eye on you. 3 days felt like 3 years. Catherine watched Jennifer with Grace. Watched how the child clung to her mother. Watched Jennifer's patience and tenderness despite having nothing. Watched the way Grace looked at Jennifer with complete trust and love. On the 3rd day, Dr. Thompson called. Catherine put him on speakerphone so Jennifer could hear. Catherine, the DNA results are conclusive. Grace is your biological granddaughter. The match is 99.9% certain. There's absolutely no doubt. This child is Michael's daughter. Catherine sat down hard in her kitchen chair. Tears streamed down her face. Jennifer collapsed sobbing with relief and joy and overwhelming gratitude. Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Thank you so much. After hanging up, Catherine looked at Jennifer for a long moment. You kept my granddaughter from me for 3 years. You let her live on the streets when she should have been here. That's not something I can forget or forgive easily. I know, ma'am. But I also know that fear can paralyze us. I know that shame can make us hide when we should reach out. And I know my son loved you, because Michael wouldn't have been with someone for 8 months if he didn't love them. So here's what's going to happen now. Jennifer held her breath. You and Grace are staying here. This is your home now. But you're going to follow my rules. You're getting counseling for trauma. You're going back to school to get your education. You're going to find work and contribute. You're going to prove to me that you can be the mother my granddaughter deserves. And we're going to raise her together. You're her mother. I'm her grandmother. We're family now. Whether we're ready for it or not. Jennifer broke down completely. Thank you. Thank you so much. I promise I won't let you down. I promise I'll make Michael proud. You better not let me down. Because that baby is watching. And she needs to see what strength looks like. What love looks like. What family looks like. The next Sunday morning, Catherine brought Jennifer and Grace to Greater Faith Baptist Church for service. The sanctuary buzzed with whispers the moment they walked in. Everyone had heard the rumors. Sister Catherine found a homeless woman who claims to have Michael's baby. Is it true? Is it a scam? What's going to happen? The choir sang, Amazing Grace, and for the first time in 3 years, Catherine felt the words touch her heart. Grace sat between Catherine and Jennifer, eyes wide at all the people and music and joy filling the space. After worship and the sermon, Reverend Williams called Catherine to the front. Sister Catherine has something she wants to share with the church family. Catherine walked to the microphone with Jennifer beside her, Jennifer holding Grace's hand. The sanctuary went completely silent. Church family, many of you have been asking questions about Jennifer and this beautiful child I brought to service today. You deserve to know the truth, so I'm going to tell you plainly. This is Jennifer Hayes. This is her daughter Grace Morrison Hayes. Grace is 3 years old. And she is my granddaughter. She is Michael's daughter. Audible gasps echoed through the sanctuary. Some people looked shocked. Some looked skeptical. Some looked joyful. Catherine continued. Jennifer and Michael were together before he died. She's been raising Grace alone for 3 years under impossible circumstances. She made mistakes. She should have come to me sooner. But God works in His own time and His own ways. He brought us together at Michael's grave 4 weeks ago. We've had DNA testing. Grace is confirmed to be Michael's biological child. She's my grandbaby. And now we're family. She pulled Jennifer and Grace closer. I know some of you are wondering if this is real or if I'm being fooled. I'm telling you it's real. I see my son in this child's face every time I look at her. And I'm asking this congregation to be the village that helps us heal and grow stronger. We need this church's support. Sister Margaret from the food pantry stood up immediately. We're here, Sister Catherine. Whatever you need, whenever you need it. Brother Thomas, who owned a construction company and employed 15 people, added loudly, I've got work waiting for Jennifer whenever she's ready. Good honest work with fair pay. Sister Patricia, who taught 3rd grade at the neighborhood school, offered, I'll tutor Grace for free to prepare her for preschool. Help her catch up on anything she might have missed. Sister Doris, who ran the clothing ministry, said, I'm bringing clothes for both of them tomorrow. Good clothes. Not charity. Blessings. The choir mothers, those pillars of greater faith who had been singing in that choir for 30 and 40 years, surrounded Grace immediately after service. Called her, precious baby, and sweetheart, and little angel. Showered her with hugs and candy and promises to spoil her rotten. But not everyone was supportive. After service, Sister Denise pulled Catherine aside in the hallway with tight lips and judgmental eyes. You sure that girl isn't running a con on you? Showing up out of nowhere with a baby claiming it's Michael's? Seems mighty convenient. DNA test confirmed it, Sister Denise. She's family. DNA can be faked these days. You see it on TV all the time. Catherine's voice went cold. Not from Dr. Thompson's lab, it can't. That test is 99.9% accurate. Grace is my granddaughter. That's settled. Now I'd appreciate if you'd welcome her and her mother to this church instead of standing here questioning me. Sister Denise sniffed. I'm just saying, be careful. People hear you got money and they come around with all kinds of stories. Thank you for your concern. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go spend time with my grandbaby. Over the following months, transformation happened slowly but steadily. Jennifer attended counseling twice a week with a therapist Sister Margaret recommended. Started processing the trauma of foster care, homelessness, loss. Started healing wounds she'd carried her whole life. She enrolled in online classes at community college. Started working toward an associate's degree in social services. Wanted to help other homeless families navigate the system because she knew how impossible it felt from the inside. Brother Thomas gave her part-time work doing administrative tasks at his construction office. Answering phones. Filing paperwork. Scheduling jobs. Simple work but honest. She earned her first real paycheck in 3 years and cried holding it. Grace blossomed like a flower finally getting sunlight. Started preschool at the church's early learning center. Made friends. Learned her ABCs and numbers. Drew pictures and brought them home proudly. Laughed constantly, a sound that filled Catherine's house with joy. Catherine found purpose again. Playing with Grace in the evenings. Reading her bedtime stories. Teaching her to pray. Watching her grow and seeing Michael in every expression. The crushing emptiness inside her chest began filling with something she thought she'd never feel again. Hope. Joy. Reasons to wake up in the morning. Every Sunday after church, all three of them visited Michael's grave together. Brought fresh flowers. Talked to him about their week. Made him part of their ongoing life. Your daughter is thriving, baby, Catherine would say, touching the headstone. She has your kindness. Your gentle spirit. Your beautiful smile. She's going to do great things in this world. Jennifer would add, her voice stronger each week, I'm keeping my promise to you, Michael. I'm being strong. Taking care of our baby girl properly now. Your mama is taking care of both of us. We're going to be okay. Better than okay. We're going to make you proud. And Grace, understanding more as months passed, would touch the cold marble and say simply, Hi Daddy. I love you. Grandma says you're watching me from heaven. 6 months after that rainy November day at the cemetery, they were healing. Slowly but surely becoming family. Learning to trust each other. Learning to love each other. Moving forward together. Then Jennifer found something hidden in her old belongings that would change everything one more time. Jennifer was finally organizing the guest room properly now that it was truly her home, not temporary shelter. Unpacking boxes. Sorting through the few belongings she'd managed to keep through years of homelessness. At the bottom of her old backpack, in a hidden inner pocket she'd forgotten existed, she found an envelope. Michael's handwriting on the outside. Her name written in his familiar script. The envelope sealed but worn, like it had been carried around for a while. Her hands shook violently as she opened it. Inside was a letter dated 4 days before his death. And a small flash drive. The letter made her heart stop. My dearest Jennifer. If you're reading this letter, then something has happened to me. I'm writing this because the situation at the center has gotten dangerous and I need someone to know the truth. Marcus Williams has been threatening me for 3 months now. His younger brother Darnell was shot in gang violence and died at County Hospital. Marcus blames me because I was counseling Darnell at the center. Says I should have done more to keep him away from gangs. Says I failed his brother. He's been following me. Calling me at all hours. Sending threatening messages. I've reported everything to the police but they say there's nothing they can do unless he actually does something. I've told my supervisor. I've documented everything on this flash drive, screenshots of messages, recordings of voicemails, videos of him following me. I'm scared, Jennifer. I've never admitted that out loud but I am. This man is angry and grieving and he blames me for his brother's death. I think he's going to do something violent. I can feel it. If something happens to me, please give this flash drive to the police. Please make sure the truth comes out. Please don't let him get away with it if he hurts me. But more important than any of that, I love you. I love you more than I've ever loved anyone. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Don't let anyone tell you you're not good enough. You are enough. You're everything. Tell my mother about us. Show her this letter if you need to. She'll understand. She'll love you because I love you. Take care of yourself. Live a good life. Don't let fear hold you back from love and happiness. Forever yours, Michael. Jennifer collapsed on the floor sobbing, holding the letter to her chest. Michael had known he was in danger. Had tried to protect himself. Had tried to document everything. And he'd been killed anyway. She ran downstairs where Catherine was reading a bedtime story to Grace. Mama, see. You need to see this right now. Everything we thought about Michael's death is wrong. Catherine read the letter. Her face went from confusion to shock to cold, hard rage. Marcus Williams. The man who killed my son. The man who's serving 15 years for second-degree murder. Michael knew he was in danger from him. There's a flash drive with evidence. They watched the videos together after Grace was asleep. Michael had documented everything. Screenshots of threatening text messages. Recordings of voicemail saying, "You let my brother die. You're going to pay for it." Videos of Marcus Williams following Michael from the center to his car. Standing outside his apartment building. Watching. Waiting. Planning. This changes everything, Catherine said, her voice shaking with barely controlled fury. Marcus Williams took a plea deal. Said it was random gang violence. Said he was high and didn't even remember doing it. Got second-degree murder. 15 years. Out in 10 with good behavior. But this proves it was premeditated. This proves first-degree murder. What do? We get justice. Real justice. The justice Michael deserves. Catherine called her lawyer immediately, even though it was 10 o'clock at night. Brother Andre Davis had been a prosecutor for 20 years before becoming a defense attorney. He came to the house within an hour, watched all the evidence, read Michael's letter. This is new evidence that was never presented at trial, Brother Davis said carefully. With this, we can petition to have the conviction vacated and request the case be retried as first-degree murder. Marcus Williams lied under oath. Said he didn't know Michael. Said it was random. Said he was too high to remember anything clearly. But this flash drive proves he stalked Michael for months. Planned it. Executed it deliberately. This is premeditated murder. How fast can we move on this? I'll file the motion first thing Monday morning. This kind of evidence. The prosecutor will jump on it. Nobody wants to let a murderer get away with lying about premeditation. They brought everything to the state's attorney's office. The case was reopened immediately. Marcus Williams was brought back from prison to face new charges. Confronted with the video evidence Michael had compiled, the screenshots, the recordings, he couldn't maintain his lies anymore. In a closed hearing with his lawyer present, Marcus Williams finally told the truth. I didn't plan to kill him at first. Just wanted to scare him. Make him feel fear like I felt when they told me Darnell was dead. But I followed him for months, getting angrier every time I saw him living his life while my brother was gone. That night at the center, when I saw him trying to break up that fight, all I could think was he didn't save Darnell but now he's trying to save these other kids. And I pulled out my gun and I shot him. Twice. Watched him fall. Didn't feel nothing but rage. The confession was recorded. Marcus Williams was recharged with first-degree murder. The new trial was quick. The evidence overwhelming. The verdict unanimous. Guilty. Life in prison without possibility of parole. Catherine sat at Michael's grave the day after the sentencing. Jennifer and Grace sat beside her in the grass. Baby, we finally got justice. Real justice. The man who took you from us is never getting out of prison. He's going to die behind bars for what he did to you. You can rest now. You can truly rest knowing the truth came out and justice was served. But even justice didn't feel like Catherine thought it would. Michael was still gone. No amount of prison time would bring him back. 5 years after that rainy November day when Catherine found Jennifer crying at Michael's grave, the Michael Morrison Community Center opened its doors on Chicago's South Side. Not a small facility, but a real center. 2 floors. Computer lab. Tutoring rooms. Counseling offices. Recreation space. Kitchen serving free meals. Everything young people needed to find hope and build futures. Funded by Catherine's business profits and donations from Greater Faith Baptist Church and the wider community. A place where at-risk youth could get homework help, job training, mentorship, counseling. Everything Michael had believed in. Everything he died trying to provide. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Catherine stood at the podium with her whole family beside her. Jennifer and her husband Thomas. Grace, now 8 years old. And baby Marcus Thomas Morrison, age 3, named after the grandfather and father he'd never meet but would learn to honor. My son died on a street corner trying to stop violence, Catherine told the crowd of community members, church family, city officials, and media. He was 23 years old with his whole life ahead of him. For 3 years after his death, I thought that was the end of his story. I thought his legacy ended when his heart stopped beating. She looked at Jennifer and Grace. Then God sent me a gift wrapped in rain and tears and homelessness. He sent me my son's daughter and the woman he loved. They showed me that death doesn't get the final word. That legacy isn't about how long you live. It's about how deeply you love and how many lives you touch. Jennifer stepped to the microphone, no longer the broken homeless woman but a confident, educated, employed mother and wife. I met Michael at a youth center just like this one. He saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself. Made me believe I was worthy of love. Worthy of a future. When he died, I lost my way. But his mother found me. Chose mercy over anger. Chose family over bitterness. This center will do for other young people what Michael did for me. Show them they matter. They have value. They have purpose. Grace stepped forward next, poised and articulate beyond her years. I never met my daddy. But I know him through stories. Through his mother's love. Through his sacrifice. Everyone says I'm just like him. That makes me proud. When I grow up, I want to help people like he did. This center is going to help me learn how. Baby Marcus, too young to speak at the ceremony, clapped his chubby hands and shouted, "Yay," making everyone laugh through their tears. The ribbon was cut. The community poured in. Young people filled the computers. Tutors began sessions. The kitchen served hot meals to hungry kids. Life and hope and possibility filled every room. After the ceremony, the whole family went to Burr Oak Cemetery one more time. It had become their tradition for every major milestone. Graduations. Birthdays. Holidays. Always back to this grave. Always connecting past to present to future. We did it, son, Catherine said, her hand on the sun-warmed headstone. Built something beautiful from something tragic. Your name is on that building. Your spirit fills those rooms. Every young person who walks through those doors will know about you. Know what you stood for. Know that your life mattered. Thomas, a good man who'd embraced this complicated family completely, added, I never met you, Michael. But I'm raising your daughter like she's my own. Teaching her to be strong and kind like you were. Hoping I make you proud. Jennifer, her other hand resting on her growing belly, yes, another baby on the way, spoke with tears in her eyes. You changed my life, Michael Morrison. Made me believe in love when I thought love was a lie. Made me believe in myself when I thought I was worthless. Every day I'm a better person because I knew you. Because I loved you. Because you loved me first. Grace and little Marcus placed fresh flowers at the base of the headstone together, the big sister teaching the little brother this sacred family ritual. Hi Daddy, Grace said. Your center opened today. It's amazing. You would love it. And guess what? I'm getting another little brother or sister. Our family keeps growing. Mama says it's because love multiplies. You taught us that. That's the story of Catherine, Jennifer, and Grace. A story that began with tears at a cemetery and blossomed into something more beautiful than any of them could have imagined. Catherine could have turned away that rainy Sunday. Could have let anger and suspicion win. Could have called the police and had Jennifer removed. Could have demanded DNA proof before showing any kindness. But she chose mercy first. Chose to listen before judging. Chose to see the desperation in Jennifer's eyes and the innocence in Grace's sleeping face and respond with compassion instead of bitterness. Jennifer could have stayed silent forever. Could have kept running from her shame. Could have let fear keep her from the family Grace deserved. But she found courage at a graveside. Found the strength to speak the truth even though she thought it would destroy her. I found that sometimes the scariest thing we can do is also the most necessary thing. Grace grew up knowing her father through stories and love and legacy. Never met him but knew him deeply. Knew his courage. Knew his compassion. Knew he died trying to protect others. Knew that love doesn't end just because life does. And now Marcus Thomas, the little boy named for two good men he'd never meet, his grandfather James and his uncle Michael, would grow up in a family built on the foundation of redemption and grace. I would learn that families can be complicated and beautiful. That sometimes the people who seem like strangers become the family we need most. This story reminds us of so many truths we desperately need to hear. That grief doesn't have to make us bitter. That loss doesn't have to be the end of our story. That God can take our worst tragedies and use them to birth our greatest blessings if we let Him. It reminds us that secrets hurt everyone they're meant to protect. That shame keeps us from the help we need. That pride makes us hide when we should reach out. Jennifer carried her secret for 3 years and it nearly destroyed her. But when she finally spoke the truth, healing began for everyone. It reminds us that the church community, when it functions the way God intended, becomes the village that raises us all. Greater Faith Baptist didn't just witness this miracle. They participated in it. Sister Margaret provided food. Brother Thomas provided work. Sister Patricia provided education. The choir mothers provided love. Reverend Williams provided wisdom. Dr. Thompson provided medical care. This is what church is supposed to be. Not a building we visit once a week, but a family that shows up when life gets hard. It reminds us that justice matters. That truth matters. That we should never stop fighting for what's right even when the system fails us the first time. Marcus Williams walked free on a lie for years. But because Jennifer kept Michael's flash drive, because Catherine pursued truth relentlessly, real justice finally came. Most importantly, this story reminds us that redemption is always possible. Jennifer went from homeless and hopeless to educated and purposeful. From sleeping in shelters to owning a home. From having nothing to building a family. From believing she was worthless to knowing she was loved. Catherine went from grief-stricken and isolated to joyful and surrounded by family. From visiting a grave every Sunday with nothing but tears to bringing her grandchildren there with stories and flowers and hope. Grace went from sleeping on streets wrapped in a garbage blanket to thriving in a loving home with opportunities her mother never had. If you're watching this story today and you're carrying a secret that's weighing you down, speak it. Find someone safe and tell your truth. Jennifer carried hers for 3 years and it nearly killed her spirit. But when she finally spoke up at that graveside, healing began not just for her but for everyone involved. If you're watching this and you've lost someone you love, know that joy can return. Not instead of grief, but alongside it. Catherine thought she'd never smile again. But Grace taught her that life continues. That new love doesn't replace old love. It adds to it. Multiply it. If you're watching this thinking you're not worthy of love or family or second chances, you're believing a lie. Jennifer thought she wasn't good enough for Michael's family. But love isn't about being worthy. It's about being willing. Willing to be vulnerable. Willing to tell the truth. Willing to accept grace when it's offered. If you have resources, use them to bless others. Catherine had money and a big house. She could have kept it all to herself in her grief. But she opened her home, her heart, and her wallet. And in giving, she received more than she ever could have imagined. The Michael Morrison Community Center serves over 300 young people every week. Grace volunteers there during summer breaks, following in her father's footsteps. Jennifer runs programs helping homeless families transition to stability. Catherine funds it all and shows up to every event, watching young people get chances her son wanted them to have. And every Sunday after Greater Faith Baptist Church service, multiple generations gather at Burr Oak Cemetery. They bring fresh flowers. They tell Michael about their week. They thank God for using tragedy to build something beautiful. If this story touched your heart today, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Share it with someone grieving who thinks joy will never return. Share it with someone carrying secrets that are crushing them. Share it with someone who thinks they're not worthy of family and love. Share it with someone who needs to be reminded that God can take our broken pieces and make something beautiful. Like this video, subscribe to Black Tales every day, and let us know in the comments, have you ever found family in unexpected places? Have you ever witnessed God turn tragedy into triumph? Have you ever been blessed by a church community that showed up when you needed them most? We want to hear your stories. Your testimonies encourage others. Thank you for watching. Thank you for believing that redemption is real, that families are built through choice and commitment, and that love is always stronger than loss. Thank you for understanding that our Black church communities aren't just buildings, they're family systems that hold us up when we can't stand alone. Until next time, may you always have the courage to speak your truth even when you're scared, the wisdom to choose mercy over judgment, the faith to believe in second chances even when hope seems impossible, and the love to build family wherever God places you. God bless you and yours. Keep the faith. Stay strong in the Lord. And remember that your story isn't over yet. God's got more chapters to write. More blessings to give. More miracles to perform. Don't give up. Don't lose hope. Don't stop believing. He's still working. Still moving. Still turning pain into purpose and tragedy into triumph.